We're going to be finishing up the manifold install today. From the last video, I shaved the water housing and all that. I took that, got it painted, so that's back. That's actually sitting right there. It's all painted to go. So what we're going to actually be doing is like final installing this. So we're going to put the Honda bond on the back of it. We're going to move our water pump over, our thermostat, move all of that over, finally get that all settled in, and then we're going to put the gasket, well, not put the gasket. We're going to put new gaskets on our manifold because I bought new ones. And we're just going to kind of tidy all this up. So just sit back. I'm going to show you guys how we're going to get all these parts to work. Alright, so as I was going through assembling this whole thing together, I just ran into an issue that I didn't notice when I was like prepping this thing to paint it. One of the threads is actually not cross-threaded, but the threads are pretty much gone where the thermostat goes on, and I checked it because from who I bought it from, he mentioned it to me, but he told me that there was a bolt broken in there. So when I went to go extract the bolt, there was no bolt in there. It was just like a lot of gunk. So I threw a bolt in there and it started to thread, and I thought it was good. But now that I'm actually tightening, the bolt threads, but it doesn't tighten. It just keeps spinning. And yeah, so the threads are boogered in that. I have to stop. I have to get a helicoil kit so I can put some new threads in there. It's actually pretty cool. I'll show you guys how to helicoil, but I have to get that. So I'm gonna stop it right here and we'll pick this video right back up when I get the kit. Alright, so we got our helicoil kit. These are very simple to use in case you've never used it before. If you have, you already know the process, but I'll go over it real quick. So we're going to pretty much put new threads in here, and the new threads are these guys right here. These are gonna be these helicoil inserts. So they pretty much explain to you what you're gonna do. Because the bolt is a M6 bolt, you're gonna drill it out to a 1/4" drill bit. So I have the 1/4" drill bit already right here. We're gonna open this up and then we're gonna start inserting the helicoil. So first, let's just open this hole up. And I'm not going to just drill straight through because this is a shoulder bolt, and this side right here actually is, it's not a blind hole. It goes, well, it's a blind hole. It doesn't come through kind of like the other side did. So I don't wanna drill into anything here. Well, you guys can't even see, I don't wanna drill anything. So I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to pretty much see how much of the bolt goes in. So we're going to go right up to the shoulder. I'm going to put a piece of tape around my drill bit, and that's where I'm going to stop. And so as you guys can see, I pretty much just line the head of the bolts up with the drill bit to see where the shoulder goes. It's a little over it. I don't want to drill too far, but that's all we're going to drill, just that far. So now we got the hole pretty much drilled out to the size we need. What we're going to get now is the tap, and we're going to tap the new threads onto here so we can fit the new helicoil in. So this is a should be, tap for a 1/4". Yeah. So now here we're just gonna center that up in there, put a little bit of oil on that, tap that down to where it stops, and then we're gonna just screw the helicoil in. Threads are tapped now, so what we're gonna do is grab the tool. Okay, so we're gonna put the helicoil on our tool. Now you're gonna see the bottom of the coil has like a little tang that goes at the bottom. So what we do is we're gonna thread this on pretty much until that tang bottoms out, and we're gonna just thread it in to our new hole. So the inner dimension of this new thread is our M6. The outer is that 1/4" that we just drilled out. And what I do is I put a little bit of blue Loctite on these threads, so that way as I put it in, they're gonna get stuck in there and it doesn't really back out when we ever try to take the bolt out. So I'm gonna put a little blue Loctite, thread this in there, and then we're gonna break that tang off, and hopefully we can break it off and pull it out, and that's it. Then we can put a new bolt in. And here's our finished product. As you can see, we got our new Healy coil in there with the fresh threads. So we're good to go. We can move on. So if you guys ever have threads that are like basically stripped, that you can't re-tap anymore, because that was the problem. It wasn't that the threads were stripped, it was that the threads were like pulled out. So the hole was already elongated. I can't put threads in a hole that's already bigger, so the only thing to do was to open it up and put a Healy coil back in there. That's why we had to do that. Otherwise, if the threads were just cross-threaded, I could have just ran a tap through it and remade them, but the hole was just opened up too much and there was no more threads left. So we're good with that. Now we can put all this back together, and then we can now set our RTV in the back of this and put this back on the motor. So we're finally able to work on our manifold assembly now that we got everything done on the engine block side and all of that. So you can actually get a better look to see how it was, how the manifold is ported, how the runners are ported. At least you can see them right now. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting new gaskets on this, because like I said, I bought this manifold used and it was re-powder coated, so I had to take it apart, and some of the gaskets ripped when I took it apart, and that's why I have this apart right now. So this first gasket we're going to put on goes in between the little plenum spacer. It's not really a spacer, it's more like the adapter that allows them to go together, and it's going to go inside this groove right here. So we're going to install that first. I have the part numbers for you. You can get these from Skunk too. Here's your part numbers. This is for the, okay, so they call it the adapter gasket. So we're going to put this one on first. Alright, so it's not going to fit exact. It's a little loose, just, you know, from shipping or whatever. So we're going to have to put this on and probably start it with some bolts. And the bolts you're going to use, if you took it apart, they are the shorter ones right here. I'm going to be putting blue Loctite on all the bolts around this. So I'm going to see if I can kind of flip this over. See if we can line it up like that maybe. Yeah, so it looks like we can line it up like this. You can actually line it up instead of putting it on the spacer. You get it around like that. Alright, so we got that going. Now we're going to sneak this guy right on. Alright, there we go. So now the bolts come on the other side. So we're going to flip this over. And this is how we're going to bolt it in, just like that. So that's all done. Next up, we're going to put the plenum half. So again, here's a look how it was ported. We have our gasket part number right here. So for this one, I don't see any grooves of how to put it on. I'm going to open this up, lay it down, and see if I can throw some bolts in it to kind of place it up. The manifold is not fully buttoned up, but it is, you know, all the gaskets are in. It is tight. Apparently I lost one of the longer bolts right there, so I'm gonna have to get an extra bolt, but that's fine. You know, we got it all together. Gaskets are on. Now I'm not gonna bore you with this, is putting like the fittings on. So the block offs up here, I'm not running anything up here. For the bottom half of the manifold, I am gonna be running my brake booster line into one of these right here. So we have the fittings right there, the push-on fittings for the hose. The only problem that I'm having, give me a sec. So the only problem I'm having is this one right here. This one is way bigger than all the other ones, and I don't have a fitting that fits in that thread hole. I don't know what size it is. I have to figure it out, unless, I mean, obviously you can see the top was cut off of this, so unless the guy never sent it to me, but I don't know what I'm gonna put there, what size that is. I'm gonna figure that out. If you guys know, leave it in the comments, but I'm not really sure what that is. So other than that, I'm going to put the rest of them on there and just put vacuum caps on them. Pretty sure that's the one I'm gonna use for my brake booster, since it is the bigger one, but like I said, I gotta figure out what size that is. So I'm gonna put all that together, and then we can finally throw this back on the car. I'm just going to go over a couple of things right before I throw the manifold back on that I just kind of want to address. Not address, but just the way I'm doing some stuff. So we're going to start with the intake manifold gasket. I'm going to keep the Honda intake manifold gasket just because the Skunk 2 one, to me, it feels a little cheap. And I originally kind of like port matched the inlets on the head to this gasket. So I mean, I kind of sized it up with the Skunk 2 one, and I would have to change it a little bit because it seems like it's off by a little. So I'm not even going to run that one. The Honda one will work fine with this manifold, so I'm going to keep that. And also my PCV system, like I explained to you guys when I was originally cutting this, I want to keep that. So I was going to throw the original PCV right back in it. This is your original PCV. It'll just go right in there, screw in, and then you run the hose to your manifold. So we have extra ports for it if I wanted to run that PCV system. But when I took my RBC off, and you're not going to see it on there, but when I took it off, there was oil all saturated in the manifold. So I just looked inside, and there was just like little oil puddles in there. Obviously that's all the blow by going by with the high compression pistons in it and stuff. I always wanted to run catch can when I knew I was going to put these high compression pistons in it. I just never, I have the catch can, I have some of the lines, I don't know where to put it. The RSX bay, it's kind of hard, so that's why I never did it. But I did buy the adapter to run into the PCV, so because I don't have the vented valve cover, but I still want to pull that out of the actual crankcase, you know, and it comes out of the PCV and recirculate it back into the manifold. Instead of recirculating it, I'm going to throw it to the catch can. If you're confused, I'll explain it whenever I do put the catch can in. But basically, I bought this adapter. So I got this adapter from eBay a while ago here, from K-Motor. You can just look it up. It's, I forget what the threads are, but it threads in right here into your PCV with the O-ring in the back of it. So you'll just thread this guy on, and then it converts to, I believe that was a 10. A 10 AN or a 12. I can't remember, but it converts that so you can run a dash fitting into that, and then you can go to wherever your catch can will go. So I think I'm just going to keep this on here for now because I'm already working around here. I'll see if I can figure out where I'm going to put my catch can, but just want to let you guys know, if you want to run a catch can and you don't have a vented valve cover, you can run one. If it's a 2-port, you can run one line from here. You just throw the hose on there to your catch can, and then the other line, the best one would be coming out of the PCV because this is sucking straight from the crankcase. It'll suck the oil vapors, and then you can run it to your catch can. So that's just a quick little tip. Now I put the extra studs on that I originally took off. We're going to put this gasket back on, and we're going to finalize the manifold. As you can see, I already got the alternator on. This is all tightened up. Hoses are tight. So we're ready to throw the manifold back on, finally. So the manifold is fully on, somewhat on. Still ran into not an issue, but I could see that the cutting we did originally was good because everything was like loose fitted. But now as I tightened everything up, it is making some contact where originally I thought it was, but then I held it tight, but it's making some contact, so it's gonna have to come off. I'm gonna have to do some shaving, and I'll show you guys, but for the most part it fits, it's on, it works. And let me show you what I mean, so that way you guys know when you go to cut this water housing, you're gonna have to do some trimming as well. So I'm gonna do my best to show you guys exactly where it's hitting. It's really hard though. You're gonna have to come right down here, and it's right here where my finger is. It's starting to like gouge into the water housing, and like I said, it's really hard to see, but as I'm tightening it, it's just like digging into the aluminum. So what I'm gonna have to do is take this off and probably just shave that whole end down, just at first to make it even, but just to try to give myself some more room. So when you do that, you're gonna have to shave that corner off. But other than that, I mean, for the most part, it doesn't look like it's hitting down here by the PCV. I did try to move it to see. Yeah, there's like barely any clearance, but it does move around fine, so that's okay. I'm gonna have to clean this harness up and try to tuck it out of the way because I don't want that showing. Keep it like that. And the other tight area, at least for me, was when I was trying to put this hardware on, the Speed Factory, because it's a 12-point nut. It was hard to get a wrench in there, so I had to take this hose off to try to tighten this guy up over here. But other than that, it's pretty much put together. And yeah, so like I said, I'm going to take this off. I'll do all this off camera. I'm going to grind that side off, double check it. I'm going to have to really mask up the head because while I sealed the water housing again, I don't want to clean all that RTV off and do all that. So as much as I don't want to, I'm going to have to do it in the engine bay. Cut the video here. I got some work to do off camera. As you guys are seeing, and I'm figuring out to make this manifold fit. It's not really on the RSX, just in any K series. There's gonna be work that needs to be done. It's not a direct bolt-on. I still haven't checked hood clearance. I'm looking at it right now. It should be fine, but I think hood clearance is going to be the next thing we run into. I don't want to like take the setup off right now just because I have the light hanging, and I'll deal with that when we get there. But hood, with hood clearance, there's nothing we could do with the manifold. It'd be starting to chop the hood up, like the bottom layer of it off. I'll worry about that when we get there. So once we finish this up now, I mean, like, I'm not trying to break everything up into separate videos just to make short videos, but I don't want to keep putting everything together because as I'm going along, I'm fixing little things here and there, like the PCV and stuff like that. So I want to explain it to you specifically in separate videos. So the next one would be probably fitting the throttle body on. After I get all this done, I'm gonna fit the throttle body, make sure that the throttle cable I have works, because if it's too long, I have some other cables that I'll try, and I'll explain to you what cables they might be. And the injectors and all that, like, that'll be all separate videos. So I appreciate you guys. Definitely give me a big like, big thumbs up, comments. You guys are leaving a lot of comments. And again, my Instagram, surgemotive_garage. You guys can always hit me up there if you have questions. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Stay motivated and keep making those streets louder.